Rico. Caution, wait, please do not play with my mind, hey. I do not play with my lines, wait. I keep protection for mine, you will not touch what is mine. I do not play with my shine, caution, wait, please do not play with my mind, hey. I do not play with my lines, wait. I keep protection for mine, you will not touch what is mine. I do not play with my shine, caution. Look at my face, pay me respect, please do not play with my line. If you want taste, what you gon' get? Shit that gon' bury your mind. All that's at stake, where is my check? Need every nickel and dime. You play with my race, put you in check, but stopping the vision to climb. They mad that these niggas done woke up and now all our visions to go. Where is the bag to get us so caught up? Yeah, that is the mission and goal. Staying on cold, some of y'all doing too much. Straight up be looking like hoes, never gonna grow. Can't count on you in clutch. Most of y'all doing the most, like this is a show. Doing it for entertainment, or you're doing it for down. Or you're doing it to sit at the table with crackers for words in your mouth. I don't play with enslavement, these are the days of the South. These days we play differently, this is what black empowerment's about. Wait, I said there's no time for no friends. Either you with us, against us, don't switch it, cause one of us die in the end. Hey, I'm keeping my eye on the lens, watching the ops, despising the picture, cause they wanna see the white end. Hey, caution, wait, please do not play with my mind. Hey, I do not play with my lines, wait. I keep protection for mine, you will not touch what is mine. I do not play with my shine, caution, wait, please do not play with my mind. Hey, I do not play with.
Good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and your brother Ashe. SJ will be joining us shortly, along with our weekly correspondent, Sister Marcia and brother Blacksmith on the check-in. Good to be black again with y'all for another week. We had a week off last week, so I hope you all had a good time with your friends and family, your loved ones, or just chilling by yourself. However way you do it. You understand what I'm saying? 2023 is almost at an end. We got what? 31 more days to go. Brother Tad, you ready to rock? How you feeling, Brother Tad? I'm rocking to New York with you.
Peace, Sister Keisha. I'm feeling blessed and highly favored. You know I'm happy to be here. Life is good, unless the judge give it to you.
We don't
Still
want to see
digesting
no
that turkey and all that.
That's what I was doing. Actually, I walked about 3 miles and then came back. So, that's why I ain't rocking a fedora right now. I had to hurry up and get back.
Okay, you said 3 miles? That's what's up.
Yeah, I walked 3 miles and then came on back. So I guess it's 6, right? 3 down and 3 up. 6, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
3 down and 3 up. So, yeah. So I had to rush back. I got back just in time to get started. It gets like that sometimes, especially when you want to take time to care for yourself. It's very important that we focus on caring for ourselves in this critical time. So many people are suffering many levels, mentally, physically, spiritually. So when you can, do what you can do to make yourself a little bit better. But how was your time off, Brother Tad?
Oh, man, I enjoyed it. I had a good time with the family. Got some things done around the house. So I could say it was very, very productive. And, of course, I'm working on some other things. I mean, we had a good time at the presentation with Dr. Mayat. That was dope. Seeing the African family out in Queens. Shout out to everybody who came out.
Shout out to Simo Tap.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Simo Tap. Professor James McIntosh, Dr. Betty Dobson, and the whole crew over there. It was that. Sis, I ain't gonna lie, I needed that. I needed that in my life. Shout out to Sister Tara. It's good to see the family at the African Village. And they'll be back to meeting again once a month. Starting the 18th, I believe it is. Don't quote me. The 12th or the 18th, I forget. I'm getting old, sis. I'm getting old. My memory ain't what it used to be.
You said
So,
it, I didn't.
my calendar's getting full again. You know, me and my baby Zuri get ready to run next week. You know, our first 5K together. You know, my little 9-year-old granddaughter. We gonna burn it up outside. So I'm happy about that. So I'm getting back into the fitness heavy because I be hitting the gym about 3 times a week, but I'm about to get back into about 5 times a week. Get back on my Hercules tip, you know, back in warrior mode. Not that I ever stepped out of it, but you know, we about to step it up again. I'll be out there with you again on the bikes. You know, doing the things we do because self-care is very important. It is not just getting pampered, getting your nails and feet done, but it's like literally taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So that's what my week has been.
That's
Catering to me.
that's what's up. That's what's up. Want to give some quick shout outs to the family. Good evening, Sister Donna. Hope all is all well with you. Sister Lex on the check-in. Tell moms I said, what's up?
Yes.
Sister Nusa, peace, peace, peace. Uh-oh.
Yes.
This is the troublemaker right here. Black, black. He coming on. He coming on, y'all. He coming on. He coming on in a minute. Sister Joyce, Brother Monty on the check-in. Sister Farnessa, what's good with you? I'm Annette too. I'll be seeing you, sis. Keep inspiring, keep encouraging because, believe it or not, when you do these things, even though you, sis, say that it's healing for you, you don't know how much it means for other people to see you doing it because it's inspiring, you don't feel alone. So keep doing what you're doing. Aunt Marie, Uncle Jesse on the check in. What's good? What's good? What's good? I had fun with the family a couple of weeks ago. My family crazy. They be cracking me up. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, in fact, Sister Keisha, how was your event with your family last week when I ran into you on Fulton Street?
Yes, yes. Shout out to Team Swap. We had our Friendsgiving. So, of course, family and friends, we had a good time cracking up, cracking jokes, and, doing what we do. Getting that quality time with ourselves, You spend so much time with your family, doing so much for your family. Oftentimes working and grinding. It's important for Black women to take a step back and just commune with each other and, just relax a little bit. Get that mental on the relax a little bit. So, that's what we were doing. So shout out to Team Swap. Shout out to the BK William Mackey History Club. They had me in there last night for part 2 on the history of Black music, African American music and culture. It was interesting. Next time I come, I'll do a part 3 because, Brother Tad, it's very important that we identify things correctly, whether we like them or not. Because when it comes to reparations, it's important that we leave nothing on the table. So one of the things that I discussed last night was the need to regain our culture in music, right? Without music, there will be no culture. It belongs to us. And so I did a bit of a timeline going back to the first recording artist up until now, somewhat, but and what they identified their music to be. So it's very important that we encompass it all. So again, shout out to the BK William Mackey History Club. He said that's right, Tan. He getting back in there.
I see Brother Ray in the morning all the time.
Make sure you tell him, Mrs. I said hello, 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 Brother Ray Ray. Sister Farnessa said, I've been gathering up my supplies, getting back into my workout journey as well. Yes, sis, it's coming, we getting to the winter. It's getting cold, up and down with the weather. So, you want to make sure your body is in tune with what's happening. Brother Black was talking about them solar flares. And I don't know if you all seen on platforms like YouTube, where they have been every day releasing more and more information about these solar flares. So, do what you have to do. Where you at? Where you at? Edie, I mean, what's good with you? You got ripped off. Peace to the family. ATM Flow. Yo, I ain't see y'all in a minute. Plant-based always working. Always working, always working. Shout out to Plant Based Kitchen.
Yeah.
And again, we did have a good time a couple of weeks ago, I believe, at SEMO Tap. They celebrated their 36th anniversary. You had presentation by Dr. Mayat. So it was really good to be, like Brother Taz said, to commune with people we haven't seen in a while. Shout out to Brother Kamal and his queen. Thank you for the photographs, brother. We definitely appreciate
Yes.
you. It's always a pleasure seeing you and everybody else, that we ran. Shout out to Sister Keisha. What's good with you?
Yeah.
Africans on the rod. Mama D was in the building. Sister Marcia. Everybody was in there. So shout out again to SEMO Tap. And again, kudos to them on their 36th anniversary. But, while we were off, a lot of things were taking place in the media, and things are flooding all over social media platforms, and people seem to be getting out of character with a lot of things. I don't want to show that clip. I'm not going to show that clip because, frankly, it's just deeply disturbing.
Which clip is that, sis?
Where you have parents and children fighting all over social media, and the need to continue to stream such things is problematic. As you said, and many others, Black Dot and so many others, attention being the new currency is damaging. And shout out to Kareem Blizz Johnson too, because he also discussed this often on his platform. He, along with Doggy Diamond, shout out to both of them, and kudos to them for continuing the hard work as far as educating our people and trying to get our people on the right track. Believe it or not, certain things that you guys are saying and teaching, people are catching hold to it, and I see a paradigm shift. Even though you see a bombardment of the negative, there is a paradigm shift, and we're going to show some of those things tonight. We're going, we got what, 3 weeks left before, because we ain't going to do the last Thursday because I got to be out. So, but anyway, we want to take this time to reflect on a lot of the good things that have happened throughout this year. We also want to talk about, of course, like I said, things in the news. You have politicians and entertainers who have been served summonses of intent to file civil suits against them. So a lot of you streamers and bloggers out there are spewing misinformation. You have to know the difference of when someone is actually engaged in civil suit and when someone has been served with a summons of intent to file civil suit. And that's what happened because, they were coming upon the last day for the year when they had to file for any sexual grievances that, these victims may claim. So it was the last day. So there was a bombardment of filings, notice of intent. So you got to follow, where it goes from there. So when you hear some of these politicians or entertainers saying, well, they don't know who the person is, that's true because they just received a notice of intent. Some of them are in the thick of it. And we'll get into all of that tonight as well, along with some historical throwback pieces, to keep everything in line and, bring it full circle here on Thorough Black Talk. That's what we do. So as we get started tonight, because I know you guys have been seeing all over all of these protests as it relates to the current situation in Northeast Africa, or what they call the Middle East, with Israel and Palestinian people. But I see a lot of our folks engaging in it when they don't really have a full understanding of what's going on. So before we get started, let's get a reminder from Dr. John Henrik Clark, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss what some people are talking about.
Invited the European for dinner. That's the first thing he did. The Indian invited the European for dinner. The Polynesians invited the European for dinner. The Indians invited Christopher Columbus for dinner. The first thing they did. He said, I wonder why they're so friendly. They'll be easier to conquer than I thought they would be. I wonder why they're bringing such small amounts of gold. I wonder where the mines are. His intentions were not good. It wasn't good then. The intentions are not good now. And the black man is still hung up with this dinner invitation, this kindness, with the thought that if you treat a person humanely, then he will act humanely toward you. Black people have not seen white people at all. That is why they can't deal with it.
You know, true indeed. I had to let the ancestor come in and give us the 1-2 kabuka over here. We got to remember, we have no friends out here. I don't see anybody putting their life and freedom on the line as it relates to what's happening to us. Our fight continues. I don't see the same. So, you know, for those of you who wish to engage, go ahead. But don't get mad and caught up when you get tripped up out here, you get arrested, murdered, or what have you. Don't come to us crying and saying, you know, this was a racial incident. No, stay over there with them folks and figure that out over there. You got to be smart. I think it was last week. Yeah, last week when they had the Thanksgiving Day parade, there was, you know, a clash between protesters and law enforcement. You know, it's crazy out here. It's crazy out here. So we have to do better, family. But, you know, your thoughts, Brother Tad, on that historical clip of Dr. John Henry Clark explaining, you know, to us our need to appeal to an entity that we may seem as friendly, but not as friends.
Well, you know, we love the ancestor, Dr. John Henry Clark, over on this side of things. And he puts things so simple, yet so eloquent. And I think part of that is because he had to actually live in the time of the Jim Crow laws. So he could really pinpoint what many of us have only read, especially growing up in New York. But I think sometimes we do forget that. We do forget that there is a system in place designed to hold us back. And the system only works when the people work the system. When you have one group with a superiority complex and another group with an inferiority complex, that imbalance of power will always remain. So those who have the inferiority complex is always going to identify with those who think they're superior. So even when we talk about the Middle East conflict, folks are always going to identify with the quote unquote oppressor until it becomes trending to be on the right side of history. Because right now, the way the people of Israel are selling it is that they're victims of genocide and Hamas is over there killing all these people, though the numbers show that way more innocent Palestinians are being murdered, the civilians are being murdered at alarming rates. And while we talk about that, shout out to Henry Kissinger, moment of silence for him, that's enough, right? I mean, this is a system that they have in place because as we talk about oppression, they still upholding the ideological thoughts of the Nazis to oppress people. Who's that? Netanyahu said you don't even want to cease fire. I think that's who it was. Say, yo, because they had a ceasefire, and I think today was the last day, and he's like, yo, let's just kill them all. To have somebody blatantly talk about the extermination of another people is called genocide. I'm wondering why they're not being brought up on war crimes. But of course, we know why. That's a rhetorical question. But for us, who have always been the victims of this system's oppression, to not even understand how deep this goes shows that we're politically and intellectually immature. And that's why no one takes us serious. Because the moment they tell us to run out and vote for somebody, we run out and vote for them. The moment they tell us to not be violent with those who are being violent with us, like little kids, we quote unquote do as we're told. And that's insane. And anybody with a half a brain know that's insane. Even when you were talking about the music and taking the culture back. When you look at the Sexy Reds and all these, I don't even know who all of these artists are now. But there has to become a paradigm shift. And I think this is something I was talking about 2 weeks ago. The onus is on us. Those of us that know better need to speak up. Even though we don't listen to the music, we're surrounded by people that listen to the music. And we have to agitate their consciousness. Because like you said, you won't show the videos, but little 5-year-olds are singing Pound Town and Ski. And that is really insane. And I hear some people try to justify it. Oh, when we was that age, we were singing this and we had this song and that song. The difference was our parents wasn't playing it for us. And the lyrics weren't as profane. Yeah, it may have been some suggestions in the music, but it's nothing our parents was drilling in us for us to sing and repeat and record it and had us entertaining it for guests. No, we had to get out of grown folks' face when they was talking. We had to go in another room when grown folks was talking. You couldn't just sit up around adult conversations and adult things. But now this is being promoted and we wonder why we go through what we go through as a community, not as individuals. Because, as individuals, we got our own thoughts. We got our own pattern of behaviors, things we do that helps us. But as a community, as a group, it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. And I don't think we have anything to celebrate right now, this moment, this day and age. Somebody asked me, did I see the BET Awards? I'm like, I don't even know them things come on because I'm so far removed from it. I only deal with what comes on my radar. And some of that stuff I try to keep away because, I had a car accident a couple of weeks ago. So I'm back on mass transit. And it reminded me why I went and bought a car. Because, I hate New York. Thank you, Mayor Adams. I hate New York now. As a lifelong New Yorker, you're making me hate New York. It's crazy. We're getting robbed every which way. I don't know if you seen Sister Keisha now. They're talking about the congestion pricing in Midtown now. I'm like, they're forcing you on the train. All the vagrants and the gangsters and the knuckleheads and everybody you don't want to be around is now on the train. But if you drive, you're going to pay. Even if you're not leaving the city, you're going to pay. You got to pay to go from one borough to another. Now, if you're in Manhattan, you still got to pay. I say, this is crazy. But too many of us are complacent. It's like the frog in the hot water, If you throw a frog in the hot water, he'll jump right out. But if you slowly crank the heat on him, it'll be boiling. He still won't jump out because everything was gradual. And that's what's happening with us. It's gradual. I was watching the news this morning and they was talking about inflation and how nobody's income could meet today's prices, the cost of living today. They said the average person needs an additional $11,000 just to make it in America today. An additional $11,000. So we operating in a deficit. But all of this is done by design because they're taking our money, financing wars that they didn't even ask us we want to be a part of. Ukraine, Israel, give our money to the migrants. What are we doing here? The Second Amendment was put in place for times like this. But I'm going to step off my soapbox where YouTube start, tuning in, striking us.
We don't care. We don't care. We're going to keep telling the truth. No matter what, we're going to keep on telling the truth because it is what it is. Sister Farnessa says she was a full-grown adult when she learned what some of these songs meant. Absolutely. Myself as well.
Yeah.
And then, like Taz said, you had to go into the back room. You had to sneak and play them Millie Jackson albums or whatever when your parents weren't at home. They weren't sitting there listening to it, encouraging us to sing it and having us perform it. before the world, because now, Brother Tad, people are streaming everything.
Yeah.
People are streaming everything. It's
Attention
crazy.
is the new currency. Everybody wants attention. Everybody wants the look. Everybody wants to be seen. I always tell young people, you could be the head or the tail. You just have to decide what you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. This video came across our timeline, and I'm sure some of you have seen it as well. This is why I say, you have to be active in these schools where your children are attending. You have to listen to them. You have to understand the people that they are around and the times that we are living in. I know some people believe that, we are progressive as far as living in an intercultural society. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Here's a video of a young lady who was expressing her point of view to some white females in her school. Anyway, these, I think it's in Mission, Kansas. I think that's where it is, Mission, Kansas, to be exact. But anyway, so she gets into a confrontation with this white boy because he felt it was okay to approach her based on the conversation that she was having with these white girls and call her the N word and everything else. Let's take a look at this and we'll come back and discuss it. Hold on, Finley.
Don't say nothing unless you're gonna come say it to my face, because I'm not gonna do it with you.
Man, shut the fuck up.
Oh, who said that?
Me. What? What, nigga, what? What? I'll fuck you.
Get his Hey, somebody come get his You swung first. You swung first. Who the fuck are you calling a nigga? Who the fuck are you calling a nigga? We not even talking to you, bitch. Oh, I'm calm down. Don't say nothing unless you're gonna come say it to my face, because I'm not gonna do it with you.
Man, shut the fuck up.
Oh, who said that?
But this is crazy. This is crazy. And this is what happens where, when you live in a society and you don't educate your children on what's around them. What's around them? People feel, they can just say and do whatever they want to us at will. At will. Like Taz said, where's the backbone already? When we going to stand up? When we going to keep taking the mess? Go ahead, Tad.
I went to high school art and design in Manhattan on 57th and 2nd back in the late 80s. We put hands on them folks. I remember my man Kareem, shout out to Kareem from Nostrum, my dude Remo. White boy slammed his finger in the window. He caught up to the white boy, snuffed him. White boy came up with a whole bunch of Guidos the next day. We from Bed-Stuy, Sister Keisha. This is the 80s. We not even stunting no Guidos. He got in our face and said, "Use niggas." Me and Remo gave each other the look and gave him what Frederick Douglass gave Mr. Covey. We gave him the one that every last one of them deserved. Because he really looked us in the face, pointed his fingers, and it was a whole bunch of Guidos. But what we know to be true is that they're cowards. They're bona fide cowards. Even in their heydays as the Night Riders or the Ku Klux Klan, want to attack a man while he home sleep with his wife and children, almost defenseless. That's how they always want to attack you. And they still can't win. See, a lot of times the stories don't get told on how we rebelled, revolted, and fought back. And look where you said that was at, because I promise you, if it was Manhattan, he wouldn't have did that. You know, if it was a place where a heavy gang influence, he wouldn't have did that. He wouldn't have did that in Chicago. He wouldn't have did that in LA. Will you say they somewhere in Kansas?
Yeah, and that's the problem too, brother Tab, because you got parents who want to send their children, to the schools that they deem are best for them. However, when you isolate your child, that's problematic.
Yeah.
That's problematic, or at
Yeah.
least make sure they get heavily. Listen, when my daughter was 3, not 5, when she went to school, 3, she was in martial arts. We not playing this game at all.
And you
Go
know
ahead,
the
Tab.
sad part is, because as a parent, it is like a double-edged sword, because the images and the manufactured behavior and identity of what it is to be Black in America, manufactured by our enemies, they got our children on autopilot to be ignorant. I'm on the train, was it yesterday, day before yesterday, about 20, 30 young brothers, little dudes, just having fun, but they fun is different. They roughhousing around people, people sitting in their chairs, and people are nervous. People are already scared of our children. Me, I see them as children. But of course, they bigger than all of us now. The way these kids growing, eating this GMO food, these kids are growing bigger than ever. So I see the fear in the people's face, but of course, I'm not afraid. They kids to me, and I know they're playing. They're not threatening nobody, but we're already a threat. And then the language. We call each other the N-word. Constantly, 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 constantly. And then those who don't know, let the white boys and all of them and the Asians think it's okay to use that word too. And this is where the clash of the cultures come in. Because again, as Dr. Clark said, we inviting them to dinner, we want to be invited to their dinner. That N-word, they got a taste for that. They got a taste for that word. Whether they sing it into the song or so comfortable with using it that they see Black people and just call them that. And it's just so crazy, because as a parent, you want your children to be quote unquote safe. So you try not to send them where the gang activity is heavy. But at the same token, these folk have never been safe for us. And our children develop identity crisis and then start getting mental glitches as they get older. They become extremely radical, which ain't nothing wrong with that. Or they try to identify with the ops. I don't know if you've seen the video where there's a dark-skinned chick in the car riding with a white boy talking about she hate Black people and they stink, and while she got on the blonde wig.
No, I ain't see that. Thank the Lord, I ain't see that.
About as dark as Wesley Snipes with a blonde wig, sitting on one of them Urugos, talking about how much she hate Black guys and she hate when they try to talk to her because Black people stink. And
I'm
I'm
glad
like,
you said that, Tab, because you rolling right in line with what we gonna be playing in a few minutes. We I tell you, boy, when we do this show, we let the ancestors speak through us, for real, for real.
yeah,
We
it's crazy.
have premises, we have a basis of what we want to discuss and how we want it to go, but we let the ancestors lead us, and it all falls in line. I just want to put that out there. Finish your point, brother.
Oh no, my point is that as a community, we have to do better so that our children are safe amongst our children. This gang activity that's being promoted, that's why we have a problem with Sexy Red, because it went from the violence of the male rappers to now the sexual exploitation of the young female rappers. So now this puts the image out that our boys got to be gangsters and our girls got to be harlots. And unfortunately, there's no image to combat that anymore. We don't even have a balance, because these things always existed, but it was a balance. Now there's no longer a balance anymore. And that's where it becomes problematic, because children only mimic what they see. And if you only showing children this is how they're going to behave. And to see them 5-year-olds, remember the ballet. I don't know if many of our audience saw the video of the ballet teacher crying, talk about how the children wanted to hear Pound Town instead of ballet music, how they want to hear
Yes.
ski yee instead of ballet music. But
Yes.
after she put that video out, somebody else posted a video of children just singing those songs. And remember, last month I was talking about how disappointed I was with some folks that I knew that was playing that stuff at a baby shower, just gyrating it. Like, we got to have a level of discernment where we recognize what's appropriate and not appropriate anymore, is the point I'm just trying to make. We got to do better. And I know it's not our audience. I just want the audience to spread the word of what's necessary right now, because our folks is out here losing their damn mind. I'm off my soapbox.
Facts, brother Tad. Right in line with what this young man was saying. This was posted about a few weeks ago, but it ran across my timeline again. And as you were speaking, I said, I got to pull this up. I got to pull it up. But listen to what he's saying.
Know why the vibe be so off in some of the black clubs, man. We really be in there trying to have a good time listening to 30 straight serial killer songs. Like, we really in there trying to have a good time and vibe out to murder music. We in there hypnotized. We damn near all done lost somebody to violence. That's why we all in there on the verge of socking some shit. We keep listening to serial killer music. These young mad ass niggas talk about hitting somebody with a switch. Man, 30 clip, slide. Man, we in there drunk. We really hypnotized listening to this devil ass shit. I ain't gonna lie, like, I don't like some of the music, but it be like, man, how's we partying, trying to have a good time listening to murder music? This shit is psychopath shit, for real. Like, I mean, we got to start switching it up, man. And something got to change, because that shit is really, like, it blow my mind. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
He right. You in there chanting this stuff, and you wonder why the behavior is the way that it is. You got to change the paradigm. And that's why, we got to start promoting artists who are doing just that. We got to say enough is enough with the shenanigans. I know, as far as I'm concerned, I've been boycotted certain things because I can't be bothered. I can't. I'm not going to let that, into me. I think I see Brother Black. You ready, Black? Brother Black, what's good? Sister Marcia working the kinks out in the background. She'll let me know. But
what up, y'all?
Peace, Brother Black.
Hey, before we go in, let me just say this real quick. Gang.
All right.
I'm the ops now.
I knew he was coming left. As soon as he said he wants to say something.
I'm representing Brooklyn right now. What's up, bro, Feds?
Here you go already.
Something.
Off the rip. You see what I'm saying? Off the rip. Here you go. Off the rip. What's up, Black? How you doing?
Chilling.
It's funny, you say that because, we are in tune with one another. The five of us, we are in tune with one another. Shout out to Brother Ashe doing his thing. But we are in tune with one another. Your thoughts, Brother Black, on the bombardment of this murder music? What are your thoughts on it? He's saying, while he in the club, we chanting this stuff, and we wonder why the behavior is this way.
I noticed on a personal level, around 2003, I would go to clubs or to parties, and like the music just didn't sound the same anymore. And when I say the music, I'm not talking about the quality of the music itself. I'm talking about the frequencies and the notes inside of the music. And I would be in these places and I couldn't stay in there for more than a half hour, and I would have to come in and out constantly because I was noting that the frequency was off. And so when you add that, Professor Griffiths covered this extensively. When you add that with the, forget about weed and alcohol. I'm talking about Molly and, all the Percocets and, popping pills, basically that era, I'd say when the water and the pills started in the early 2000s. When you add that with those frequencies, it only can lead to a demonic outcome. So I've been noting that for a long time. Y'all know I wrote a book on exposing the entertainment industry and all the things that's happening now. Even though I didn't talk about it in depth, the way it's happening now with all the details, it's coming from the same people that you know were popular 20, 30 years ago. So it's only getting worse because it's digitized and free now, as opposed to you having to buy it or borrow it from somebody and all that. So here we are.
Yes, indeed. Let's listen to a clip from one of Brother Tad's favorites,
Yes,
Eric
sir.
Sermon.
Yes,
Eric
sir.
Sermon.
EPMD in the house.
So what you saying, Black?
Eric and Parrish making
dollars.
Eric Sermon doesn't recognize today's hip hop. It's stuck in one place. Let's hear what he says.
Hip hop. I just think that they should change the name. I know you shouldn't have. And I know no disrespect, but it's not what that is. Yo, hip hop is what it is. It comes from a culture, and hip hop can evolve, but this is not evolving. You think evolving is Melly Mel to Rakim stage to the whole nine to Wu-Tang, from Wu-Tang to Murder Inc. DMX. That's evolving. You know, to you know, Cameron them, you know, Dipset. That's evolving. It's still the culture. That's a fact. This not. I didn't go for that. You can't go from that and don't evolve and come to where we at right now. That's not what that is. You know, and they actually are saying they are rappers. They saying they something else. They call it some type of vibe or something or whatever, but they can't be. That is not what this culture is about. This culture is about content. It's about being able to say something. This thing that hip hop is
Right in his act. I can't argue the point. He's right in his act. They're saying it ain't. You know, but the powers that be keep forcing this down our throat. And I read listened to a interview with what's her name, Cardi B the other day, saying, you know, she's done, like she don't want to do this anymore, but they keep forcing her to do it. You know what I'm saying? At what point do you say, I'm not doing it? I'm not doing it.
You know what it is, sis? It's because these people are who they are. And those who are in the industry know who they are. Remember what Michael Jackson said about Tommy Mottola when they were partners. He's evil. He's the devil. Michael Jackson did this documentary / movie, This Is It. And he wanted the cameras rolling full time. Now, this is from Teddy Riley and his sister LaToya after Michael died. Michael said he knew they were going to try to kill him. And they were successful. They did kill him. Same thing with Prince. I think Cardi B knows also. She probably got the word. Look what happened with Whitney Houston. When they don't need you no more, they throw you away. Look at Tupac. Look at Big. These are not coincidences. A lot of this because this is a multi-billion-dollar industry that's controlled by people who wants to control the world. And like I said, they don't control the world. They only control the image that they control the world because they recognize how powerful imagery is. That's why they can have our children running around singing Ski Yee and all this stuff and put us on autopilot when it comes to this genocidal program they got for us. And they don't want to lose that power. Think of the people of influence, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was going to create a distribution company, said, yo, I'm going to put rap out, but it can't be this stuff out right now. Same thing that happened with Murder Inc., Rap A Lot, and all of them wanted to form a conglomerate because anybody, we could have Thorough Black Talk record label. Anybody can have a record label, but the distribution is where the money is because how do you get it around the world? Mind you, this is before digital streaming, though. They got everybody tied up in legal matters because Jay Prince didn't go to jail. Murder Inc. didn't go to none of these people went to jail. They just tied their money up and tied them up from completing the plan for us to take over an industry that belongs to us. When Kanye said that on Power 105, Envy and Charlamagne tried to call him crazy. He said, yo, this is ours. We don't control the industry. And he told Envy, yo, you only got a job, but you don't own nothing here. He said, if they shut this radio station down and just use it as a book warehouse, ain't nothing you can do.
That's right.
And that's a fact. These people are getting paid off our creativity. Eric Sermon said that years ago. He said they trying to get paid off what we made.
Mm-hmm.
He said that on a song, Get Off the Bandwagon. But this is so true. And we don't think deep enough because they keep us distracted with the foolishness. Because every artist that try to have a paradigm shift, say, yo, I traveled the world, I see my influence, I learned some things, I don't want to do this no more, they discard you. They discard you. Same thing with Nicki Minaj. She was talking about moving away from all that crazy stuff. Notice you don't hear her no more too much. They
I
do
think
that with
Big Deal
everybody.
too, right?
Yeah. All of them who try to get their act together because they control the imagery. This is their radio station. This is their television station. And social media is giving them a hell of a run for the money. But this is why YouTube is doing what it does with the content.
I'm glad you said that. But let's go to Sister Marcia, and we're gonna come right back to
Yes,
that
peace,
point.
Sister Marcia.
Miss Marcia, good to see ya.
Peace, family. How's everyone doing?
Hey, sis, how you feeling?
Right now, we in Bois City.
Here you go. See, it's the bad hombre. He can't help himself. You chuck it up to the Bronx. 3 against 1. You gotta let him slide with a little bit. He know how thorough we are, Marcia, but we gotta let him slide. But to Tad's point and Brother Black's point, the way we moving so rapidly, you gotta have a throwback on Thorough Black Talk. We gonna go back to Barry White, Mr. Silky Smooth, when he tried to warn you what was coming and what they were going to do with this technology. Here we go.
None can escape what is getting ready to come upon us. Change is a warning of what's coming.
What's coming there?
Technology. Technology is going to replace human beings. See, what we see today is just the taking off of it. It's still coming. Unless you know how to program a computer or how to fix one, you're going to be in trouble in that area. In our industry, the industry has changed. Studios going out of business every day in Hollywood because technology has taken it from the big studio to a little space. Something new is happening in the 80s, just for you, but you can't get lazy. All you do is just make up your mind that you're gonna do something. The key to life is your attitude. Make sure you're doing what you want to do. You know how many people go to college for 4 or 5 years and get out and never do or use what they went to college for? Wasting time. Your goals can unfold right before your eyes, but you got to have certain priorities in order. The key to life is education. Don't forget it, because if you do, you will regret it. That's anyone that don't understand how to do something, how to earn a living, how to make some money.
Hey, he told us over 40 years ago, he tried to warn you where it was going, what was going to happen. And now, as Brother Taz said, now these streaming platforms are giving these labels a run for their money. Some in a good way, some in a bad way.
I heard on an interview a few weeks ago, I don't remember the people that did it, but basically the streaming platforms are now the record labels. Basically.
Listen, you could go in the Apple store and cut a whole album. I'm serious.
Yeah.
If you really know, listen, if you know technology, shout out to my niece Ryan. We love the Apple store. We are addicts.
All right.
We geeks, we nerds, we like that. Anyway, shout out to everybody in my cybersecurity class. We nerds, we like that. However, like you said, they are giving them a run for their money, but is it in a good way or in a bad way? It's both. The thing is, we got to push what's good and, throw away the bones. So when you have young people who can do renditions of the legends, shout out to this Broadway thespian and songstress, Anaya Simone. If you've seen the Tina Turner review on Broadway, she was in it. But something is happening. I don't listen. You don't have to believe like Sister Keisha believes. That's perfectly fine. I'm just telling you what I believe. The ancestors are speaking. Whether we want to see it for what it is or not, they are awakening because song is our movement. Song is our vibration. Song is how we get through life. Song is how we get through war. Song is how we get through peace. And if we don't have a vibration to deal with that, the psyche can turn on and off and make you insane based on what you're listening to. And after this young lady, we want to listen to another young brother who going to explain all of that for you. I got to give shout outs to our young people. So let's listen to young sister Anaya Simone rendition of Ella Fitzgerald.
It's a lovely day today, and whatever you've got to do, I'd be so happy to be doing it with you. But if you've got something that must be done, and it can only be done by one, there is nothing more to say. Except it's a lovely day for saying it's a lovely day. It's a lovely day today, and whatever you've got to do, I'd be so happy to be doing it with you. But if you've got something that must be done, and it can only be done by one, there is nothing more to say. Except it's a lovely day for saying it's a lovely day.
I'm telling you, you can say what you want. You can say what you want. But these ancestors is trying to wake our babies up. They see the shenanigans that's going on. This is why you have such a vibration that is happening. You got new leadership on the continent of Africa that are trying to reclaim their own.
Yes.
You got new leadership that are trying to take control of various islands, trying to change the paradigm. You got young people here who are saying, you know what? We done with these schools. You got teachers who are walking out of the schools and saying no more. Something is happening here, whether we want to believe that or not. Sister Marcy, your feeling on Sister Young Anaya Simone.
Well, greetings, everyone. And baby Simone, you are doing your thing. Because I am a lover of those old tunes that does that kick in that vibration. That is my thing. Like if you're in spaces with me, you know that that comes into the rotation. But music is different and it's getting wilder and wilder. I apologize for missing earlier segments of today's show. However, I know we are all saying the same thing. Today's music is trash, and our children are listening to it because their parents are listening to it, and there is no different tunes being heard in a lot of households. And it's sad because there's so much range in music. But if you're only listening to that one type of tune, then you're done. I'm sorry.
Time to change the vibration. And
Absolutely.
like we said, we got to promote those who are doing just that. Whether you like the genre or not, you have to try to promote it because we got to change what's going on here. You can't even go out and have a good time anymore without people losing their minds. There was a video that went viral, and I know Team Thorough Black Talk seen the video where two drivers got into a disagreement about who should go ahead first. And this turns into an all out brawl in the middle of the goddamn street over who goes first. Like, this is crazy. And then to see the image of the hat to come in and save the day, which really nails it right in the coffin. The hat got to come over there and stop you from acting like a goddamn fool in the street. And you wonder why our children are behaving. Listen, look who they go home to. That's why, for a long time, people will always say, we got to focus on the babies. We got to focus on the babies. And that is absolutely right. But you got to also focus on who these babies are going home to. You got to focus on who they going home to. Who is the controlling factor? But let's check out these young brothers in the melody of the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill album. Let's rock out with them. We do not own the rights to any music. YouTube don't play with us today. Strictly for educational purposes. That is it. Here we go.
The Miseducation.
Now I don't. I used to love him. Now I don't. You might win some, but you really lost one. You just lost one. It's so silly. How come when it's all done, did you really gain from what you've done? It's so silly. How come you just lost one? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Watch out, watch out. Look out, look out. Watch out, watch out. Look out, look out.
The Miseducation.
Now I don't. I
Give credit where credit is due. You got to give support and, push these young people to keep doing what they're doing. Keep inspiring them. I was looking through a whole bunch of videos today of young people who are just doing amazing things. So tonight we're going to show some of these young folks and let you know what they're doing. Yes, Sister Monique, shout out to Nicholas Brooklyn on the check-in.
Yeah.
They had Dr. Wesley Muhammad last week in the building. Shout out to Nicholas Brooklyn, always on the check-in. Sister Electra as well on the check-in. She might be DJing for us on the last show of the year. But anyway, we'll work that out. We'll see what we can do. We'll see how we work it out. But anyway, Sister Marcia, your thoughts on those young brothers harmonizing to the great Lauryn Hill?
Lauren is my girl. I appreciate those young kings on doing their a cappella with great precision. They harmonize excellently, and that's what we need. Like you were saying, music gets us through things. We're not using music as a tool anymore. You watch movies, they're always showing you the chain gang guys singing along, doing them railroads and stuff like that. That's what encouraged them. It's that. And we don't have no encouragement out here. We do have some nice flutes, though. I'm down with the flutes.
Messing with Andre 3000, ain't that homie?
You call that flute playing? Yeah.
My brother.
I'm sorry?
You can play better flute.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
No, because that's not my purpose. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, educating the people. We're not going to call that music. It's not bad, but it ain't no masterpiece.
Passion for classics?
First of all, Andre ain't play no classics. What's your favorite title? What's your favorite song on that? Because I'm going somewhere with this. So I want to talk about the young boys, but I'm gonna ask you a question. What's your favorite song on that album?
I think it's the one that ends with Beyonce.
The one that what?
Bad Long.
The one that what?
Ends with Beyonce.
All them titles are mad long. So again,
that's what I remember. The one that ends with Beyonce.
All right. I just want to say this, right?
Yes, sir.
Stay with me. It's a lengthy statement. But it's good that he's playing the flute, but that's his hobby. He's not proficient in it. He's a rapper. He's not a musician. He's not a jazz musician. Somebody picked up the flute, want to toy around. He has the means to put an album out. He did it, but he still lowered the frequency when he said the P word is the slang word for, you know what I'm saying? When he's using the P word and all that stuff, that brings the frequency down, showing you that he's playing with it, right? So leave that over there, because that's that frequency he on, and everybody missed it just because it's Andre 3000. I said that when he came out with Hey Ya. When he came out with Hey Ya, I said that song is whack. Everybody only like it because it's Andre 3000, because everybody think when people do goofy stuff, it's cool if you're popular. If it was a brand new artist that came out with Hey Ya and called that a rap song, we'd have laughed at him. Let's be honest, because Hey Ya is not a rap song. Just a dude experimenting with music, which is cool. But rappers are not musicians. He's not a Coltrane. He's not a Charlie Bird. He's not those dudes. But we acting like he's the second coming. That's part one. Part two, those young brothers raised the frequency because they went back to acapella. They went back to the roots of our R&B, where they just harmonizing as brothers who used to sing love songs to sisters. We don't have that no more. None of our music really expresses love. Even R&B right now is ratchet and talking about killing people when I bury that body for you. And we just lost right now. And I say I love those brothers because they put me in the mind of Brian McKnight and Take Six, when they used to do they 1-2 back in the day, singing Spread Love and all that stuff. You know, we got to get back to real talent, because everything we hearing right now is not real talent. Andre is just playing the flute, mediocre, like a high school student. He's not considered one of the greats yet. Like, come on, we got to be serious. But we've been functioning on such a low level that mediocrity is now the high end of the bar. And that's what we really got to start critiquing. Yo, where we at with this?
I hear you, brother, and you have all rights to everything that you say. But when you're in an environment where social promotion is everything, you know, kids can't
But that's
read,
my
they
point.
can't math, they're
But,
just getting there.
but
But you give accolades for the attempt.
no,
I
no, no, we don't give accolades for the attempt. We don't do that no more. That's that remedial retarded stuff.
completely different. I agree. There's a couple of songs, there's a couple of flutish stuff that are not of whatever. I don't know vibrations. I can't tell you a key of anything. But I can say that at least it's not a Sexy Red. At least it's not a Sukiana. At
Right,
least it's
right.
something
I agree, sis.
for ears, because at least then at least some parents are playing that in their house versus playing something else, and
No,
they're
I agree 100%.
so
I'm just saying that album ain't what everybody trying to make it. Part one. Part two, did you play that album today? Did you play Andre 3000 today?
absolutely did, and I took a nap.
Thank you. Because
But
that's
that's
all it's for.
I took
Putting you
naps
to
a
sleep.
lot of meditation music.
But
I
the
took
point,
naps a lot of meditation music, so it for me it was all right.
but hear me, sis. The point
Mhm.
I'm making is that, and this is to go back to what Eric Sherman was saying about things not progressing. We have devolved so much that we're happy with mediocrity. Now, while we moving this way, the world is moving this way, creating a widening gap. And we're celebrating this mediocrity now as we're being pushed backwards. We're celebrating it. Oh, at least it's better than this. But you know what I'm saying? We comparing, all right, I'm eating chitlins, but it's better than eating hog maws. Like, come on. Like, dump is dump.
I disagree. I'm
No,
not.
hear me. We gotta
We're,
we gotta really change our mindset on what we accepting.
however, it's something better than that Sexy Red. It at least, and even if you take a nap to it, at least you're silent for a moment. People out here are jumping up and down all over the place. They can't take a moment to sit down and think. At least, if someone does 2 minutes of thinking, at least. But people are not doing that out there. We must take that into consideration. I'm not faulting you. We're celebrating mediocrity. We do it every day. How are we going to change that? That comes back to some previous conversations that you've had on this show, saying we have to up our values. We don't have values as a community, as a nation, as a family, or even as individuals. Not everyone has standards and boundaries. So it's just a thing. But I'm happy that it's a thing that's different versus the thing that I hear every day. And at least I hear other people saying, I heard a second of it and I turned it off. That was a second that you shut up for a minute, trying to hear something and you didn't find what you were looking for, so you left it. At least a second. That's
Can
all.
I get in the middle of this conversation?
Thanks.
No. No, we don't want none of that Bronx talk in here. It's a Brooklyn Queens thing.
Keisha, I'm gonna let you handle him.
Good, brother Black.
Look, I drink water and mind my business.
Now, what I wanted to say was this, real quick. I call it the Erykah Badu X Factor thing, because it's like this, as far as I see it. We criticize the young people for making the music they making now, and I'm not knocking nobody for doing it, because I have my criticisms as well. But then when we have somebody like Dre, and this is where I agree with you, Tad, in that it isn't a rap album, and that's what most people expected. Then we blame the artists for stretching the boundaries instead of staying the same. So, you know, I can see both of your points and respect both of them equally, and give Dre in particular now credit for at least trying to do something different and more. And something neither one of you mentioned that I was waiting for was there's a point to him doing what he did. What's that point? And when we think of it that way, then maybe we can look at this from a different.
Tell us what the point is.
Tell me what the point.
I don't
Yeah,
have to answer to that question
because he could do it.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that.
But you're thinking a different point. So what's your point? Because I agree, he could do it. He has the latitude. None of our children have the latitude to do that because we don't have a financial stability or an engine to cover that person, like you were saying, those distributions. We don't have none of those things. So that hinders us as a community to use this as an economic tool. But
Marcia, with the internet, distribution is no longer an issue.
it is, and then it isn't. Because then you still have to find your target audience. And again, to Tad's point, he's Andre 3000, so he doesn't have a problem finding an audience.
Right.
His audience is already there, thinking they're coming out with a rap album.
I'm waiting for Black to tell me the point.
Thank you.
I didn't have one. It was a question.
Oh, no, just because he can do it.
Yeah, well, and I accepted that answer when you said it.
Oh, I thought it was a rhetorical question that you was asking.
Nah.
But on another note, but staying in that vein, because I'm not knocking Andre 3000 for doing his album, because he can. If I had the means to just sit and make a whole album whistling, I would do it. Just because I could, right? My point is that us, the consumers, the audience, when do we become independent thinkers again? Because that is the problem. It's not about devils doing devilish stuff. It's not about untalented people being untalented. It's about us supporting it. And how are we developing a taste for trash is my point. And that we have to take a critical look at ourselves and what we're buying into and how we're letting people sell us garbage and we're consuming it. In fact, Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. talked about it in the lecture he had called Zapsters. He said with us, we let them tastemakers give us anything. He said they can take baseball hats, put hubcaps on them, and just call them Zapsters, and we'll buy it. And that's what's happening. Whether it's Andre's mediocre album, or it's Trashy Red, or Sukiyana, or even the so-called pro-Black leaders within the movement that jump into the foolishness, jump into the pool of foolishness with no results. And I'm not going to say nobody's name, It's just we know who making empty promises and not delivering, and we don't even hold them accountable. So it's not so much of a complaint about what's going on around us. It's an indictment on us for engaging in all of this foolishness.
Values.
Right. Our value system is shot. And then
What?
we get mad at somebody else for calling it out, and we want to call them a hater. But then when things don't work in our way, or we don't get the support we feel we deserve, then we want to get mad. But we're not even creating our own tastes anymore.
Yep.
And that's the problem. When we
understand, Brother Todd, they understand that we are consumers. So they can throw anything at us and we're going to buy it. And as you said, because we don't have a value system.
And that's because they created us to be
hold us accountable and responsible for the things that we do, say, and act on. And if we don't have that, we can't get to the stage of where you're talking about, or where any of us on this platform has to pass.
But we can, and that's where I'm trying to go, because they control the image and the dialogue, because they told us that we're consumers, right? But check the fly part. Who created the cell phone? The internet. We did all of this. We are the creators and producers, but they jerk us out of
the distribution aspect.
No. But I want to talk about the mindset that we have.
We have
I want
it.
to talk about us, because everything we keep talking about, we want, we've already had. The problem is we too lazy to research it. We're too lazy to research our story and find out where we went wrong. And where we go wrong is, as Dr. Clark said, we keep trying to have dinner with these people. So anything they serving, we're taking it. We're ingesting it. We're digesting it. Whatever they put on the news, whatever they put on the radio, instead of saying, nah, I'm good on that. We don't say that. And that becomes the problem. The devil is going to do what the devil do. When God's going to stand up and be God's. And that's my point. And this is not a debate with you, sister. You know, I agree with you. I'm just saying, as a group, we have to think steps ahead of them. Dr. Amos Wilson said a long time ago, when people talk proper, our community want to say you're acting white. He said, no, we're not acting white for speaking proper, because when you're acting white, you think about statehood, nationhood. You think about creating your own. That's thinking white. And we're not thinking that. We're thinking of shadows. We want to be whatever they're doing, we're going to do it. As Dr. Francis Cress Wilson said, we keep following them. Monkey see, monkey do, till one day the monkey cut his throat. And we got to get out of that mindset. I wish I could just, like, when I'm in public, I love our people. I'm still in the hood. I live in the hood. So I see all of this all day, every day. And I know I'm not the only lone voice.
Tad, we're actors, and you want to shake people and say, let's become distributors. We've been creators, we've been producers, but we've never really managed distribution. We've never became a mob on content, on where it goes, how it goes, and everything like that. That's what's holding us back. As long as those continue to be the distributors and we continue to be the consumers of the product the way they represent it, then that's our problem. We have to represent our product and distribute our product. We've already created it in so many different forms, and we're utilizing it each and every day, but we are not. Absolutely not distributors. Or even when we start distributing, there may be behind the door stuff that's happening. We don't remain together. We quickly start disputes. We quickly start separating. We do all of these things that is not forming a nation. We separate real bad when it's time to form nations.
When it comes to this industry, and that's one of the things I mentioned last night, reclaiming all of it. Right? Leave nothing on the table. And that's why, certain genres I mentioned in the presentation that, we throw away. We throw away and other people pick it up. So now we're pigeonholed into certain genres of music because we've allowed that to happen. So that's why I said so many of these genres now are being reclaimed. They are being reclaimed. They are talking about distribution, believe it or not. They making it happen. Right now, there's a project with Jermaine Dupri father and some other people, legends in the industry who are trying to do just that. You know, realizing where the hell they went wrong and trying to refigure this thing out. So both of your points are right and exact. But to Brother Taz's point, when he was talking about the frequencies that we are listening to stuff to, we got to be aware of that. And I follow this young brother on Instagram, and I'm sure some of you, all of you, have seen his videos before. But again, we got to highlight what our young people are presenting and what they're speaking about, saying these frequencies are off base. I'm gonna play this, and then I'll play a hip hop, a rap artist who's talking about the same thing. Hold on.
Most of the music y'all listen to today is played at a frequency of 440 hertz. They play this frequency in the clubs, the radios, most of the streaming platforms, and everything. The picture y'all see above is the two different frequencies and how they look being played underwater. You see how discombobulated the 440 hertz is and how aligned the 432 hertz is? It's because 432 is a part of the solfeggio frequency list, even though it's not on this chart, but it's a part of it. And the human body is made up of mostly water, so imagine what that 440 frequency is doing to your body. It's keeping your body at a discombobulating low frequency. That's why you probably have intrusive thoughts, or you might hear a sad song and you want to cry, or a song just make you mad and want to go on a drill or something. It's that 440 hertz frequency doing that to you.
So again, shout out to the young brother. He always putting videos out like this. You gotta give him his kudos. And push, you know, people who are changing the paradigm. And again, you know, you have artists who are saying no more. Like, we've had enough. We've had enough. We recognize what y'all doing. And now, like you said, they don't need the labels no more. So we're going to hear this young brother, you know, excuse some of the language, but I want y'all to get his point and his perspective on what he's saying. Here we go.
You think it's odd they slave you if the slave master ain't served the same God they gave you? 400 years. Hold up. Yeah, hold up. Look. You think it's odd they slave you if the slave master ain't served the same God they gave you? 400 years later, and you hardly stable, and you turn around and beg that same God to save you? Look, word to the sunrise. Homie, save yourself. Everything else, get a thumb drive. The young lives of black queens lost, misplaced, who've been raped, beaten, indoctrinated, and disgraced. We've been wet, shackled, and mutilated, put through degradation, disrespectfully viewed and hated. I mean truly flagrant, treated like shit in this fucking nation. Then in 1850, slaveholders came with this publication called How to Make the Ideal Slave. Now dig the vision. Rule number 1 was unconditional submission. Keep them in place with authority, because rule number 2 was create inferiority. Look, you think it's odd they slave you if the...
You gotta support. You gotta support when they say, you know, we see the game, we see what's happening here, we see what's. Listen.
What's his name? What's his name?
Give me 1 second. Forgot his name. Shoot, real quick. Forgot. Authentic something. I forget. It'll come to me. Authentic something. But anyway, when I find
encourage children.
I think it's authentic African or something like that. I think. I could be wrong. I think that's the name.
That's gonna be his name tonight.
Yeah, that's what we call it. You know, when your mother calling you everybody else's name but your own.
Yeah.
We doing that tonight. You heard me say it, boy.
You know, this conversation is very important. I don't know if y'all trying to avoid the Diddy conversation, but I'm going to bring it up in relation to everything we just spoke about real quick. Now, remember, I said this on the show a few times before.
Diddy touched me too.
Say again?
30 minutes.
Man.
Where do you find these people, Keisha?
Exactly.
Keisha.
It's the last thing I ever heard Chad say. I'm surprised Chad ain't beat Puffy up yet. I'm gonna go see him. I seen Cassie one time at a concert. I'm gonna see that dude.
But anyway, real quick. since you went there, Black,
Oh,
give
okay.
me a perspective on what's happening. With I know what it is. It's to throw light up for what's really going on behind the scenes. I hope I have
Partly,
enough time to play that. But go ahead.
partly, I believe, I really believe that everybody they putting in the room, as Queen Amina defines it, she put a blackout show out yesterday, and she said, "Oh, that Puffy ain't got no money, and that's why all his assets is going back to the people that it really belonged to." And he's gone, meaning get mode. And y'all know what that means. So I don't got to say it so that we don't get algorithmed out. But real talk, as far as all of that is concerned, y'all got to remember going back some years when he was still officially president, as we know it to be president. Trump made a law that made it where if you won a court case against your record label or production company or whatever, you have to get your money like within a certain amount of time. They can't hold it 5 more years and say, oh, we settling out how much you're supposed to get versus what you already have, and then whatever you're supposed to get in the near future. So when you say that, then we go from here to all of the people that were doing Epstein Island kind of stuff, and now they're all being exposed because along with the war in the Middle East, not the other war, the war in the Middle East, and with all what we're seeing right now, remember Q, and I said this on the show a few times already, Q always said we saving Israel for last. So we in the final days. And that's why 2 weeks ago, when you asked me that reparation question, I'm factoring all what I just told you into all of that. Because as it's supposed to go, whether you believe in the Tsar or Jassar or whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's not going to be reparations because black people are owed separately from everything because of the atrocities we have suffered worldwide, and some still suffering actively, like in Papua New Guinea, a place we don't talk about much. Congo.
In the Congo, yeah.
Yeah,
Congo
so many different places
right now.
Yeah.
And nobody talking. I don't see people all over the street about the Congo. But
even the land situation in South Africa, nobody talks about it anymore. Malima's the one talking about it. Malima's the only leader, and now the guy, I forget his name, Traore. I don't remember which country he's from, but he's gangster too with it. I believe Guinea, or one of them countries that just got rid of France.
Right.
There's 4 of them actively that already did it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now about divisionist tactics, right? Because that also floats through these internet spaces.
Yes, ma'am.
And those of us who know better, we have to be in these spaces so that we can deal with what's happening. But I'm gonna play this clip. I'm gonna mute your mic real quick. I'm getting some feedback, but I'm gonna play this clip of this brother from Nigeria. He's a model, and a content creator. But let's hear his comment and we'll come back. We'll discuss. Hold on.
Do Africans hate African Americans? The short response to this is don't just take my word for it. Go to Africa and find out for yourself. But honestly, this rhetoric that continues to be pushed is not only downright disgusting, but it's continuing to push a divide amongst us. There are ignorant people in the African community. There are ignorant people in the African American community. Just like when I came here, I used to be made fun of for being African. I don't hold that against them because in the most respectful manner, they did not know any better. They were children and they were just going up for whatever was fed to them. If you go to Africa, you literally get treated like royalty. I'm telling you, royalty, bro. Last year, I went to my village with my boy Manhan. And when I tell you, up to this day, I spoke to my grandma the day before yesterday, and she was like, oh, how's my husband? Like, how's my husband? Like, referring to my friend Manhan. That's like it's like a cultural thing where like your grandma would be like, oh, my grandson is handsome, like, you know, that type of vibe. Like as an African American, when you go to Africa, you literally get praise, bro. I spent all my early life wanting to become like African American, bro. I loved watching Nino Brown. I wanted to be just like Nino Brown. I used to be walking around in Africa with a Band-Aid under my eye because I wanted to be like Nelly. I only saw posters, just off of posters alone, found him to be so cool. Within my friends group, there was a point where nobody went by their African name. Everybody wanted to be named something else. I was Nelly. Somebody else was 50 Cent. Somebody was Snoop Dogg. Like that's literally how it was. But the media is not gonna tell you that though. The media is not gonna tell you how many fights I got into because somebody wanted to be called Nelly. I'm like, nah, Nelly is me. Do Africans hate
again, when you travel outside of the country, you see that what he's saying is real. Everybody want to mimic what we're doing. Now you got to stop them from mimicking bad behavior. You know, hold on, hold on. Listen. Hold on. Let me pull this up for y'all because I want you to hear this. Hold on. Give me a second here, family.
Any song that has to do with killing of our people. Enough is enough. How can we party to somebody rapping about killing you and somebody that looks like you? Kill an N-word this, kill a nigga this, kill a that, kill a nigga that, kill a nigga. Like, bro, the consciousness within our community needs to evolve. It was getting to me so bad because it went to the point where every time I saw a black person that looks like me, that's around my age group, I automatically think, like, okay, I have to clutch up. Or I have to like figure out, you know what I'm saying? I'm always kind of looking over my shoulder. Why, bro? Why? And to be honest, I don't feel the same when I see other races. I don't. I real life don't. So consciously, you know what you're doing, but subconsciously, you brainwashing yourself to look at yourself as a target. The same way that I look at that black person that looks like me is the same way that I look at myself. I might not admit it, but that's the same way that I look at myself. How much longer are we going to promote the killing of ourselves? How much longer are we going to keep saying this artistic expression? Anytime I hear any song that talks about killing a nigga, this killing, I stop it right away. We are the only group of people that rap about killing each other. We need to start holding ourselves accountable because I guarantee you, there's nobody else that's gonna have our best interests at heart like we are gonna have our best interests at heart. If you cannot rap about anything else but killing somebody that looks like me, killing somebody that looks like you are not the type of person that I want to support, nor are you the type of person that I want to listen to. Because there's nothing but pure garbage that's coming out of your mouth. I stopped listening to.
So again, an awakening is happening whether we want to see it or not. An awakening is happening. You know, people are tired of shenanigans. So kudos for him for trying to bridge gaps and tell truths. If you travel outside of the US, you know everybody mimics the culture. From the style of dress, even the way you stand, especially black men.
Sis,
Let me tell you something. The misappropriation is serious when it comes to black American men. But go ahead, Tad.
Been to Africa 4 times. Every time I go, they like, well, first time was like, welcome home. Every time they see my passport, welcome back. And what he's saying is 100% true. And that's what I try to explain to people when I talk about being African-centered. Because like I said, I'm in the hood. And they be like, yo, Africans don't like us. And I tell them, I don't like some of y'all. And I'm from here. Because the level of ignorance, like the brother was saying. But there was a point, I think it was my second or third trip, right? And it was the third trip. And we went to a bar, like a hangout spot. They call it a bar, but you know, they really don't drink too much alcohol. The alcohol was like 2%.
Was it a chop bar?
I forgot what it's called. But we went there, and no lie, they was playing Mobb Deep. They was playing all the 90s gangster music. And then on TV, they just had some movie about jail on. Like the brother said, influencing them. Our culture was influencing them. But at that point, right, Sister Keisha, Sister Marcia, I started to cry. Because here I am, all the way in the motherland, trying to reclaim my African identity. And here they're pumping the poison that got my mans killed back here in the States. Us being young and impressionable, listening to that music, carrying guns, emulating those frequencies that was being forced on us when we was younger. And it made me so mad. But you know what even made me madder? Because it was an establishment owned by a black man, a Ghanaian brother, who was married to a white woman. Who, of course, the white people were there. It was the hangout spot. They opened it with African drumming, African dancing, everything cultural. What I go to Africa for, because I don't go to Africa for that stuff. I could just stand right outside on Fulton Street and hear and see all that stuff live in the flesh. I ain't got to watch a video. But it really broke my heart. And I said, they're doing this to the young brothers over here now. They done erased our African identity over here in the diaspora, but now they working on a continent with the music and the imagery, and it really broke my heart. And I'm glad that brother said that, because we got to close the gap and the divide. And this is the point I wanted to make earlier, right? When we was talking about distribution and things like that. We got to think outside of this country. We got to think outside this plantation. There's nothing holding us here but memories and hopes that it get better. We can go to anywhere on the continent or in the diaspora, take our resources. But the thing is, we're not thinking like that, let alone even organized. And that's how Willie Lynch designed this thing, for us to constantly be divided and separated. And all I'm saying is that if we're going to talk about the ancestors, we're going to talk about our freedom fighters and warriors, let's take the thought process a level higher than where they left us. Dr. Clark, Dr. Amos Wilson should be the bar, not the exception. They should be the bar. I'm quite sure their sole purpose was for us to take it a level higher, further than where they left it. That's what Runoko Rashidi, peace be upon him, said why he do his work, to take Ivan Van Sertima's work a level higher. That's why I like Dr. James McIntosh, the CMOTAC, because he take Dr. Clark's work a level higher. See, we got to get focused in on what we doing. Shout out to the William Mackey Study Group that keeps the conversations going, but not just conversations out there in the street when it's time to agitate and be a voice, a strong Black voice for the community. Because too many people that get on camera now is watered down suckers. They're politically correct, tiptoeing around the subject, scared to ruffle their sponsor's feathers, whoever the sponsor may be, whether it's the mayor or the job. They scared to speak truth to power and say, no, this thing is getting worse. Look at the conditions of our children. Look at conditions of the mothers.
When rent is $3,000, people don't want to talk. People don't want to talk. But again, it's all about opportunities, right? This young brother has an opportunity to see what America looks like through a screen in his home country. And he is thinking that that's the opportunity that he's going to find here, not understanding that the oppression that he's facing over there is the oppression that you'll face over here in a different format. And again, we don't have a national value system to understand that what you're seeing is false. Because so many of them travel here because they see something on a TV and then they have to either assimilate or sit there and say, like that young man was saying, that we got to get our act together. Our acts are not together. I don't want to hear drill music when I'm in a club. I want to hear other things. Or we form.
See, that's the thing, sis. You right on that point. You know, trust me, I was a heavy partier. Trust me. All the promoters know me. However, it got to a point where I said I can't do this no more. Listen, the rape culture, it was just too prevalent for me. And someone I used to hang out with heavy with. We were supposed to meet up one night at this particular club, and I told him I can't go no more. I cannot go anymore. They didn't believe me until they realized I wasn't coming. But me making that move springboarded them to make moves in their lives, right? So we all became greater women for it. But somebody got to say, you know what? I'm done. Because if you are a consumer, a customer, and if you don't like the product, you either take it back or you do away with it and say, I'm not going to do it no more. That's the thing. We got to say, enough is enough. So that these artists realize that, wait a minute, if I'm supposed to be successful in this game, then I gotta give my audience what they want. I gotta give them what they want. But shout out to Mr. Grimm. I know y'all follow him on the gram, but I do. I like the stuff that he puts out. He's an educator, and his children had an incident in school Well, let him tell it, and we'll come back and we'll discuss and get ready to close this out. Here we go.
Every black child needs to see this clip from Malcolm X to counter the impact of internalized racism.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
So one day my 9-year-old came home from school and she told me that her darker skinned friend was being bullied by a black boy who had lighter skin. She told me he was making jokes about her skin tone, and she said that she interjected and told him to be quiet, and she talked about how all shades of black is beautiful. So of course, I immediately told her and my 7-year-old to sit down, and I showed them that clip right there. They liked the clip so much, they kept watching it over and over again, and they started saying it themselves with the same mannerisms Malcolm had. So from there, we started talking about anti-black propaganda, media narratives, inclusion, diversity, and we also talked about colorism. So the next day, my daughter went back to school and told me that she told that boy that exact same quote from Malcolm, and she educated him on colorism. And she said he had no idea what it was. So it's crazy, right? He had no idea what it was, but he exuded it perfectly. See, if y'all keep thinking your kids aren't ready for conversations about racism, you're going to be losing to the anti-blackness and racist propaganda that they're downloading in their subconscious. So who taught that 9-year-old boy to hate himself and his African features? It's probably the same people that's teaching some of these 9-year-old white kids to hate us.
There you have it. There you have it, family. There you have it. I love what the brother did. This is how you combat what's happening. This is how you combat it. And say, you know what? Nah. He didn't have to get indignant and crazy. Just educating his children. And then they started repeating it because that message was on repetition, beginning to chant what Malcolm was saying, combating the other chant about killing yourself, hating yourself. Listen, everything works in divine order right now. Brother Ray, if you still on the check-in, I just received a message from somebody who was on the Zoom yesterday. Like the presentation, want to bring her group out to BK William Mackey's History Club the next time we do this thing. So I'll reach out to you later on, Brother Ray. I'm telling you, when you make it palatable for people to understand and get it, the babies will gravitate to it. You know, what you think about that clip, Brother Tag?
Well, you hit it on the head, and that's Brother Malcolm. And I always say you can't teach the people if you can't reach the people. And why I resonated with the children, because Malcolm had a way of articulating what we felt. Because a lot of times we have these frivolous debates and it's only based on our emotions and feelings. But once we expand our vocabulary, we can articulate it. And that was powerful for the young people. And that's why, Sister Keisha, what we were doing with Party, you remember we were taking the children. Why? Because it's important that they see themselves in a positive light. They have to. And not only was they getting it from the museums and the curators, we went and sat with the master teachers. They heard it. They was like, oh, I know that man from that documentary, that DVD, that book. Because we got to make it real for them. And that's what we're combating. And this is something that anybody can do. All of us can do. Educate our children. We used to have a joke in the house when my children, they're adults now, but when they were younger, we used to always say they under the spell. They under the spell. Because we talked about the behavior of our community, and that's not who we are. Because we had pictures of Malcolm up. They used to know Daddy ain't moving Sunday until he finished watching Like It Is. And they would come, sit and watch it with me, ask who is that, what is he talking about? And then we have conversations about that. Because every generation of children go through that. What was it? Mamie and Kenneth Clark did the doll test. How many years ago was that? Was that 1955, 1956? They did the doll test. Our children believing that white dolls are prettier than black dolls. Every generation has to deal with that. Here it is, 2023, and our children still got to deal with that. But this is manufactured images that I constantly talk about. White people make it look like they're up here and we're down here. But and that's on TV. Because when you see them in the flesh, they don't look as good as they're projected on TV. Damn sure don't smell like you think they should smell the way they act on TV. And our children got to know that all of this is done intentionally to bolster their image and suppress ours. So shout out to homie, because that's what we have to do. But we can't teach our children if we have them settle for mediocrity. That's one of the biggest problems we have. We constantly settle. Even when it comes down to elections, the political process, the lesser of two evils. Why do we have to accept any evil? We got to do better. And that starts with the way we think and process things. We have to make our imagination a reality, just like other groups do. But it starts with us changing our mind and then having a healthy dialogue with the children, expanding on those thoughts so our children can make those thoughts a reality of us being sovereign, not independent, but sovereign, truly free. I'm going to step off my soapbox with that one.
Now, I like the bit with the colorism, especially with that South African singer that has that water song that everybody's talking about. There's been some conversation because she calls herself a colored person. And we have to understand that on the continent, like we were talking about before, they don't have certain dialogues, or they're not having certain dialogues the way we're having certain dialogues. So for her, colored feels good. Maybe for some folks, mulatto feels good. But we still have to understand we're under the same umbrella. Without being under the same umbrella, that's what catches the capitalist society. That's what continues us as consumers. We're not identifying us as one unit to make things to our sovereignty or our freedom. We just keep doing the repetition. And if in school mediocrity is perfect, then guess where else is going to be perfect? In your house, because so many places the school dictates how you govern in your home because we don't have the value system. And it's just poo-poo for cuckoo birds.
Yeah, it is. Brother Black, you want to add on to that?
I wanted to ask a question more than anything. What was the guy's name, and was that his book? Because right after the clip finished, it was a picture. It looked like a book cover. So, you know.
Well, Sister Keisha's frozen right now, so she's trying to fix that up real quick.
Yeah.
But I guess once she gets unfrozen, once it heat up again.
Oh, okay, Tad. So we're gonna let Sister Marcia take the show over for the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, Sister Marcia.
We like feminine energy.
So, with all of this that we were saying, remember that clip that Sister Keisha showed, and
today,
Brother, I am Nelly. I did the eye patch. I did all of those things to beat. Used to beat people because I am Nelly. You're not Nelly. I just find that so interesting as a first generation. Sometimes when I was in places, I had to create that defense mechanism in order to adapt to the environment that I was in. Brother Black, I know your family is from another country.
From Honduras.
You ever have to create that defense mechanism in yourself?
Well, as a kid, yeah, because first of all, because I'm dark skinned, and second of all, because so in other words, let me explain it in a better way. When I was growing up in the Bronx as a young guy, as teen, preteen,
a tot black.
A tot black. Wow. Okay. Anyway, when I was a young dude, most of my neighborhood was blacks and Puerto Ricans. So black people were like, "You're not Puerto Rican?" Like, no. And I'm like, "Well, where y'all from?" From Honduras. Nobody knew Honduras back then. It wasn't as popular as it is now. Now you can throw a rock and hit a Honduran in New York. But back then, so everybody thought I was Puerto Rican. So when my family was young, and I said this on this show before because of who you are, when I was in high school, we moved to Spring Valley, New York, which has a heavy Haitian population. And so because I have my name is not, John Smith or Derrick Rose or, some kind of common name, everybody now put me in the Haitian category. And it's like, when the hell am I going to be who I am? And I'm telling people where I'm from. If you look at a map, you'll see it there. So, it caused some type of identity crisis because, it's like I could never be just me. I just wanted to be a guy that's recognized as like just being a cool dude that's over there doing his thing. I didn't want to be anything other than me. So, I relate to what you're saying very well, sister. Right.
Thank you so much.
I didn't have that issue because I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That conversation is on point. Is she coming back?
But no, what I was going to say to your point too about the South African calling herself colored, that's something she could have picked up from over here. Because now what happens is when people constantly say people of color, all you're doing is another way of calling yourself a colored person. And that's what I mean when we're afraid to say black or African now. So we'll say a person of color or people of color. What's the difference between a person of color and a colored person? There is no difference. And we don't realize, and that's what I'm talking about, the mindset that we have. We're slowly moonwalking backwards and don't even realize it.
Man, she had to come in on another channel.
Yeah, absolutely. What I was going to say is that, even in Trevor Noah's book, he talks about, because he has a black mother and a German father, he talks about even them, they would call their people colored in the environment.
And whose book is that? Whose book you said, sis?
Trevor Noah. Noah? Yeah,
Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
From the Village Voice?
Yeah, he.
No. You're talking about the show host, right?
Yeah, the TV show host.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he talked about that whole being a colored person and what that meant. And I think we don't understand that it means the same thing. And we're having this whole national debate because they have the same problems over there. We don't understand that even on the continent, they're having the same disputes. They still have a colonizer over them. Or in the Caribbean, they still have someone, puppeteering things, being the imperialist governments that they are, that are governing people, places, and countries these days. And we're not realizing that. And it takes all of us to come on that same playing field, level playing field, that we're all being oppressed by the same person, but we think they're different people because of the state or the country that we're in.
But right, and I agree with you, sis. And that's why I say we have to change our mind, because the problem is we are embracing other people's identity of who we are instead of us practicing self-determination. We keep letting our oppressors identify us. So that's why it's constantly going to be a debate on who we are. And until we collectively come up with a value system and an identity that serves us, not us trying to get with people, but by us establishing our own nationhood, as you stated earlier. But that only comes with the paradigm shift. We got to be on the same accord and stop trying to mimic those who got us in this hole. Because that's why we can't move. And what they're doing is the behaviors they display publicly is not how they talk privately when they get together at these meetings. Because the one thing that always beguiled my mind is how, no matter what day of the week it was, digging something like 1,000 of them like that to protest against something. I'm like, yo, how does their network work? So you know they have a line of communication. We really don't have that no more. We don't have the Daily Sun like we used to. I don't know when the last time I seen the Amsterdam newspaper and things like that, let alone a television show like It Is or the McCreary Report or what's my other man name? The show Tony Brown's Journey.
Brown. Yeah.
We don't have none of it. We don't have Bev Smith in our voices. We don't have nothing to rally us, to keep us informed of what's going on around the world. Even when BET, back in the early 90s, early to mid 90s, BET had a 6 o'clock news where we knew what was going on around the country. And this one I knew we was going in the wrong direction. When it went from BET nightly news with Cortland Malloy to weekly news, to where they only showed the news once a week.
With Travis Smiley, right? And
No,
he
not
was
with Travis Smiley, with Cortland Malloy. But Travis Smiley had a program too, yes.
not for us.
Who, Travis?
Yes.
Right. I mean, you know what I'm, and I'll say this, there's no defense, but I have a level of understanding that people digest things differently from different people. It's like I never understood how a lot of people couldn't stomach Dr. Khalid. I'd be like, yo, you don't rock with Dr. Khalid. You know, some people are afraid. Some people like that mild tone, those mild manners.
Yes.
You know.
But no, to your
Jesus.
not. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Black.
No, I said give it to Jesus. What I want to say real quick, I'm not gonna take time. What? Y'all ain't never heard that before?
We didn't want
to talk.
The point.
Say something. You came back like 5 minutes ago. You ain't said a word yet. What happened?
She laughing at us.
No, but real talk. What I wanted to relate between y'all conversation again, because y'all very interested tonight, is the word color.
Only tonight?
Only tonight.
Keisha. Cut his mic. Good night, Brother Black. Thank you for coming out. See you next Thursday.
Good night, everybody. It was such a nice show. No. Let me say this, Tad. Come on now. What I'm saying is, as far as the word colored, is a different word from the 50s in the United States than it is today in Africa. Having lived in Ghana, they have all kind of different words for people who are of mixed race or not black, but not white either, like Indians and Arabs. And so you're colored in over there if you're that. Colored here meant black person in the 50s.
No, and see, that's a misnomer, Brother Black, because colored was only non-whites. Because that included the Latinos, that included the Mexicans,
that's
that
what I just
included
said.
The Asians. No, I'm talking about even in the 50s, it didn't mean just black.
In the U.S.
It wasn't just black. It was anybody not white. And now it's the same thing today. Indians and Asians are calling themselves people of color.
Colored, yeah.
No, but
you never hear Asians say I'm yellow, but they'll say I'm a person of color. What color are you?
But hear me out. What I'm saying in the 50s, I said in the 50s. That's why I said in particular in the 50s, because back then, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, whatever, black people, as Paul Mooney used to say, niggas who can swim because they all lived on islands. Back then, they considered themselves black, like Roberto Clemente, people that we can relate to. They were black people. And then, after that war between the Dominican Republic, when it was Hispaniola and then it became one island and two countries on one island, is when that divide started where, oh, I'm not black, I'm Dominican, that stuff. And then along came with that with all the people that after the
but that was before the 50s.
They tried to invade Cuba.
No, I hear what you're saying, right, Black? But my point is that we should abandon the word colored, calling ourselves colored.
It's not up to us, though, Tad.
But it is up to us because it's what we accept.
No, when I say
you can't call a Jewish person a kike. I mean, we could call them that, but they won't call themselves a kike. They won't say, I identify. They won't do that.
Our time conversations globally is what's trumping us, because now a whole slew of interspaces people are having this national debate because this woman is calling herself colored. That's what they call, that's what she is known as in her
Right. No.
country. So the whole conversation is, if we eliminated that term completely, like any other derogatory term, and understand that we are all black. Like, you just got a moment on the stage. You may face the same things that Sexy Red will face, because the industry is controlled by the same group of people, and you are promoting hypersexuality. So at the end of the day, we're still facing the same thing no matter what space or landmass we're in, because we're not controlling anything. We have no distribution that, yo, if you
Yes.
think you're
Time.
colored, you're
Time.
freaking.
Time. I'm glad you said that, because the one thing we can control is our response and our engagement.
Yes.
See, we can't control what other people do, but we can control what we do. And this is what I keep saying. We just have to disengage. And we have to make it cool to disengage. Because only us, Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. So we don't control the images yet. But nor should we be trying to engage with these people having these conversations. All we got to do is disengage. That's how power works. Power doesn't work. Like, what is Vladimir Putin asking from Joe Biden? Or is he standing 10 toes down? See, when you ask somebody for something, you give them the power to accept or reject your request. You give them the what? The power to accept or reject. It's like when I want to take off a day of work, I don't ask. I just let you know, yo, I'm not coming in tomorrow. Why? Because I claim my own power. What I got to do is what I got to do. And I'm not looking for your permission. That's where we make our mistake, because we keep asking the people holding us down for permission to be free. We're asking people, can we be ourselves? That's the craziest thing I've heard.
Tad, let me say it to you like this. We all, to a degree, have a militant mind state when it comes to certain things, okay? Now, who went on Arsenio Hall and said we should call ourselves African Americans?
I don't remember.
In the late 80s.
On Arsenio Hall? I wasn't watching Arsenio Hall till like 1990.
Damn. Okay, well, it was Jesse Jackson. And what I'm saying is, what you're defining is the 5% view. Jesse Jackson is part of the 10%, and he told the 85% that. So 5% of us ain't going to take to these titles that we don't feel we are. The 10% going to tell the 85, and they're going to run with it. So 95% of us is running with the same thing. And when you don't accept that as a terminology, they're looking at you like you crazy. Is that true or not?
It depends on your mental paradigm. Because
okay, well,
truth is subjective. Truth is subjective, because you say that to an Israelite and you're going to argue. You say that to
I said 5%.
Yeah, but 5% of who?
The whole of us.
And that's what I'm saying. As individuals, and I know our time is winding down, the point I want to impress upon people is think for yourself, but work for the group. That's it. We having this dog chasing its tail conversation because we still talking about this day and age, and we see what the results are. The results are Sexy Red. The results are Young Dirt. These are the results of us not getting results, of us constantly having these conversations instead of living like this. I'm so glad my daughter gave my grandchildren African names, that my children have a cultural identity that they could pass on to their children, because this is not what I was raised with. I wasn't raised like this. I was just raised the traditional old folks, black people way. Mind your business. Don't steal from nobody. Just be a good Christian-like person. But there's so much more to it. You've got to be an independent thinker. Think for yourself. Value your experiences, whether they're good or bad. Learn life lessons, because we all got those. Everything we've been through is for us to learn. Not for you to learn, not for her to learn, not for her to. It's for me to learn, for you to learn. So we got to find the value in those experiences that we have. recognize them, and try to help other people empower themselves. Because the only reason why we failing because we don't know what real power is. It's easy to holler black power, but what does black power look like when you can't think for yourself? When you waiting for a Dr. Umar, brother, or Sucker Polite to give you instructions on how to move in this hellhole? You got to learn how to be your own leader. Develop your own critical thinking skills. That's what we got to do. Because we always talk about we, but we ain't did nothing. We contributed to a school that wasn't built. We supported a dude that spoke 9 different versions of Pig Latin and plagiarized about 30-something books and still touching little girls. Like, but when I talk about putting hands on people, I'm contributing to black on black crime. No, we got to deal with people who's harming our community, not just physically, but intellectually too. That's why we don't do a Cornell West and the likes, because these people are confusing our people with these big fancy words, talking about a whole bunch of nothing, trying to get us to get on board with this genocide. So with the alphabet agenda they pushing on us, now with this music, everybody talking about, oh, they just young people expressing themselves and rationalizing it that we did stuff when we was young. But that's why they don't let young people be leaders. Because when you're young, you don't have enough life experiences to know how to make the proper choices. So I'm not following Little Dirk and Sexy Red and Sukiana Johnson. I'm not following these people. I'm trying to get the people to stop following them. They don't follow me because I might have stepped in dog mess. But follow your inner voice. Follow your conscience. You know right from wrong.
How about Sukiana Cromwell?
Nah, I'm good on that. Good on that. She already married. She's spoken for. And I ain't trying to fight King Kong over no jump off.
King Kong
ain't got nothing on me.
Okay, Sister Keisha, cut his mic off. He's been talking too long. Sister Keisha quiet all of a sudden, boy. You're on mute, sweetie. You're on mute. I don't think she's coming back, Tad. You got to take over.
You're on mute. On mute.
She's talking a whole bunch. They ain't saying.
Oh, it's the powers that be. See, they after us.
Yeah.
They after us. It's only because Blacksmith on the show. That's the only reason.
Oh, I'm done with you. I'm done with the both of y'all. Sister Keisha, you're mine.
That's all right. It's 10 o'clock anyway. I'm done too. How about that? Thank y'all for coming out. God bless. Good night.
Brother Tad and all his many wives.
I ain't got no wives.
Sister Keisha, Brother Black, these are my final thoughts. Remember to hold on to distributions. We need to become distributors of what we want to see happen in the world. We've already created it. We've already solved problems, but we have not controlled our rights and distribution. Black power is ours, like we've said throughout this conversation, but we must control it. We can't keep letting, look, like Brother Black always says, this is the final countdown. We need to make a great stand. We need to make a powerful stand that's actually going to leave legacy, like my man Jay-Z says, on to our children, on to the future generation. Because right now, like Brother Tad was saying earlier, we're accepting mediocrity. We're accepting my guy on the flute like he's the dopest, and he's not, like my brother Tad said, but accept what you accept, but control distribution. It is very important. And the first thing we need to control is either we are African people or we are Black people. No matter where you fit under that umbrella, control the idea, because once we can start controlling it and distributing it correctly, like back in the Black Panther days or back 50 years ago when we feel that revolution was happening and we took a break, it's no longer break time. It's time for us to get our acts together. Brother Black, on to you. I think Brother Tad is finished. You got more to say?
I'll go before tag. We usually do it that way. Thank you, sister.
Peace, family, and may time manifest for us all.
Thank you, love. Appreciate that. I'm just all I gotta say is Sister Keisha mentioned in the beginning of the show about the solar flares and how much it's online right now, and even on TV shows if you're watching those type of shows. It may cut off our internet, it may cut off our means of communication electronically wise speaking. So just be aware of it. I'm not trying to put doom and gloom and tell everybody that it's going to be a blackout tonight or tomorrow, but the big one is supposed to hit tomorrow morning, they say. So as far as that's concerned, I think we're in a great place right now despite all the distractions. I mentioned it a few minutes ago about Israel being saved for last, and the mop-up job that they're doing with what I also spoke about maybe about 3-4 months ago on this show when I said that we had to watch out for celebrity gossip because they're going to hit us with it. And as we see, that is basically they targeting us with that because we about to take this shit over. So, don't come on here saying Brother Blacksmith is doom and gloom, saying solar flares is going to destroy the earth. We got melanin, and that's going to be our staying power right there. So y'all better get ready and rejoice. Put that champagne on deck. You know what I'm saying? Get your L's rolled up. You know what I'm saying? Let's get this cosmic party and let's get it popping. I love y'all. Listen, one more thing before I go. I wrote a book, and Sister Keisha already vouched for it on this show. The name of it is Boom Bye Bye, Hip Hop Will Never Die. I mentioned it earlier. I didn't say the title. But that book exposes a lot of the people that are in the room right now on the dirtiness and, the entertainment industry, not just hip hop, but the entertainment industry. So with that said, I'm going to leave y'all with melaninforever.blogspot.com. I'm talking about the solar flares. I'm talking about the celebrity gossip. I got Andre's album on my blog. I tagged everybody on this platform except for Sister Marcia because for whatever reason, she won't friend me on my new page, but I still love her. And with that said, Bronx out. Peace.
Yeah, kick the Bronx out. Yeah. Again, I want to shout out everybody who tuned in. I'm glad y'all joined us. Glad y'all rocking with us. Of course, we always gonna cut the fool, have a little laugh and joke here and there, but we definitely serious because life is to be enjoyed. Like Brother Blacksmith said, we ain't doing the doom and gloom. Though critical issues do have to get addressed and spoke upon, and we will be passionate about it because this is our life. This is our future. You know what I'm saying? I got grandchildren. I ain't trying to have them fight this fight. I'm trying to fight this fight so they ain't got to. All right? So hopefully you're inspired by some things you heard tonight. It's your turn to go out and inspire others. Remember, be your own voice. Listen to the inner voice inside of you. Don't listen to this external locus of control. Follow your heart and your mind. When you get that pit in your gut that's telling you what's right and what's wrong, follow that. Be a critical thinker. Educate yourself. Get as much information as you possibly can. Listen to the ops sometimes because they may make points that expose the crack in your armor. And you can strengthen that if you just take a little chance to listen what the people across the table got to say. Because if people always agree with you, you're not going to grow. Always remember that. So I want y'all to stay up, stay blessed, stay true. And remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, it's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha, what you going to do? You know sign language?
I
know this means Wu-Tang.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah, and Wakanda forever.